Today, we're going to peel back the layers of Philippine cities. We're going to uncover how centuries of history literally designed the very streets we all walk on. Let's get right into it.
Have you ever just stopped and looked around your city and thought, why is the church right there? Or why is this one street so incredibly wide while another is so narrow? Why does some neighborhoods feel totally different from others? Well, believe it or not, none of that is an accident. Every corner tells a story of design, of power, and of big, big ambitions.
All right, so to really get this, our story has to start by winding the clock all the way back. I'm talking before the grand plazas and the sprawling avenues to a time of much more, let's say, organic communities.
So picture this. Before the Spanish ever showed up, the islands were dotted with these self-sufficient communities called barangays. Now, these weren't planned out on some drawing board. They just grew naturally. They were driven by the simple needs of life, security, and being close to resources like water. This was city building from the ground up, a concept that was about to be turned completely on its head.
And then, in 1573, bam! Everything changed. King Philip II of Spain issues this sweeping royal decree called the Laws of the Indies. This wasn't just a set of friendly guidelines. Oh no, this was a master plan, sent from halfway across the world. It was basically a blueprint for imposing order on a foreign land, and it was done with almost military precision. The age of organic growth was officially over.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. The Spanish brought the grid, and right at the center of this new layout was something called the Plaza Complex. I mean, just look at this diagram. The plaza is the heart. And what surrounds it? The key instruments of colonial power, the Catholic Church, the government hall or municipio, and of course the homes of the ruling elite. It was a physical manifestation of control, a daily psychological reminder to every single person of who was in charge.
And if you want to see the ultimate expression of that control, look no further than this. Intramuros, the walled city of Manila. This wasn't just a neighborhood. It was a fortress. It was the exclusive home of the Spanish, designed for defense, for administration. Everything outside of its walls was, by definition, secondary.
Okay, so fast forward more than 300 years. Another global power shows up, and guess what? They have a totally different idea of what a city should be. Let's move into the American era and see how they added a whole new layer to the city's design.
So, when the Americans took over, they brought this whole new philosophy with them called the City Beautiful movement. And the focus? It totally shifts. It's no longer just about religious and military control. Now the planners are all about civic ideals, things like sanitation, public health, wide open spaces, and an aesthetic grandeur that was meant to inspire civic pride.
And the man in charge of making this happen? None other than the legendary architect Daniel Burnham, who'd already designed parts of Chicago and Washington, D.C. His whole philosophy was summed up in this one famous quote. He wasn't there to make a few small changes. He was there to think big, really big.
And right here, this is where you have that aha moment. Just look at this. On the left, you've got Washington, D.C.'s National Mall, and on the right, that's Burnham's plan for Manila. The resemblance is, well, it's not a coincidence. It's striking, and it was totally on purpose. He wasn't just building a city, he was trying to create a tropical reflection of the American capital, with all its symbolism and grandeur.
I mean, Burnham's plan for Manila was just, wow. The scale was breathtaking. It had this massive government complex right on the bay, majestic, tree-lined avenues. He even wanted to reclaim land just to get the waterfront view perfect. It was so ambitious that the source material we're looking at literally calls the plan too grand to ever be fully built.
So, while all this grand planning is happening in the center, the city itself, well, it couldn't be contained. It just started to burst at the seams, pushing outwards and creating this amazing patchwork of new communities, each with its own distinct personality. And these early suburbs, or arrabales, they grew up more organically around that old walled city, and each one developed its own unique vibe. You had Binondo, the bustling trading hub for Chinese and Arab merchants. Quiapo became the territory of the rich and powerful. Santa Cruz was the buzzing commercial and entertainment center, while Malate was like an early summer resort by the sea for wealthy families.
All right, so flash forward to the mid-20th century, Manila is getting more and more congested, and a new, pretty radical idea starts to take hold. What if we built an entirely new capital city from scratch, a symbol for a modern independent nation?
So in 1939, they make it official.
The plan is to move the capital out of Manila and onto this huge, basically empty tract of land that would become Quezon City. I mean, just think about it. A totally blank slate, a chance to create the perfect capital, completely free from the constraints of Manila's colonial past.
And this simple sketch really shows you the heart of the whole idea. The master plan was built around a central triangle, and this design wasn't random. It was deeply symbolic, connecting the three branches of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. It was a capital city designed to literally embody democracy.
Then, after World War II, that outward push just exploded. You have a rising middle class, and they're looking for that suburban dream, a house, a yard. And these iconic subdivisions like Film Life homes start popping up. And crucially, they were built along a brand new artery, a highway then known as Highway 54, which of course we all know today as EDSA.
Okay, so let's jump to today. How did all of these historical layers, that Spanish grid, the Grand American Boulevards, and the massive suburban expansion, how did they all mash together to create the megacity we see now?
Well, if there's one word to describe modern Metro Manila, it's density. I mean, just look at these numbers from the year 2000. The city of Manila had over 42,000 people per square kilometer. To give you some perspective, that's more than double the density of New York City. That's insane. It makes it one of the most jam-packed urban spaces on the entire planet.
And here's the other thing. The city doesn't really have one single downtown anymore. Power and commerce have spread out. It's more like a constellation of different centers. So while Manila is still the traditional heart, you've got these other huge central business districts, or CBDs, that popped up over the decades. Makati in the 40s, Ortigas in the 50s, Cubao in the 60s, and now these emerging modern hubs like Fort Bonifacio.
So, as we recap, you can really see the layers, can't you? We started with these scattered villages. Then the Spanish came and stamped their rigid grid onto the land. The Americans then overlaid that with their grand avenues and civic spaces. That was followed by decades of suburban sprawl, and what we have now is this dense, multi-centered, modern metropolis. And all of this leaves us with one final, and I think crucial question. Our cities weren't built with a single unified vision. They're a mashup of competing plans from different eras with different goals. So, if every design choice we make reflects a set of values, what values should guide us now as we design our cities for the next generation? That's definitely something to think about.